Repair costs at the City Lake Dam are climbing. Amtrak service through Ardmore is again in danger of ending. And the remains of 6 Oklahoma service members were brought to town and laid in their final resting place. These stories and more on This Week in Ardmore from Ardmore Leader. I'm News Director Michael Dean Smith. Thank you for downloading episode 63 of This Week in Ardmore. This is a weekly podcast from Ardmore Leader dedicated to independent coverage of local news. Here are some of the things I've been following around Ardmore, Oklahoma for the week of May 8th. Ardmore City Commission officially installed its newest member on Monday and elected board leadership for the next year. Buddy Simon was sworn into office on Monday evening, starting his first 5-year term on the Ardmore City Commission as the at-large commissioner. He and fellow commissioners then elected David Plesher as the city's newest mayor and Cheryl Ellis as vice mayor. City commissioners wasted no time considering a relatively light agenda this week. Most of the discussion time was spent on a roughly $10,000 change order related to work happening at the City Lake Dam. City officials told the commission this week that the latest price change comes as engineers want to take core samples from the dam and spillway to better understand how it was built some 115 years ago. The change order approved by the commission on Monday was the smallest of 4 change orders to that roughly $8 million bid that was first awarded late last year. This and other unexpected changes to the scope of work have increased the cost of the project by over $400,000, or about 5%. City commissioners also agreed to pay $5,000 for repairs to the traffic signal box at one major intersection. Commissioners on Monday agreed to pay for what was not covered by insurance after a car crash on Thanksgiving last year knocked out traffic signals on North Commerce Street and 12th Avenue Northwest for much of that weekend. Amtrak's Heartland Flyer between Oklahoma City and Dallas is again at risk of ending. In our newsletter this week is a story from Oklahoma Voice about the funding shortfall facing the train line servicing Ardmore. A state transportation official this week said that the state legislature would not be providing the $2.5 million requested by ODOT. This week's comments come after the Texas legislature also said that they would not be appropriating funds to continue the rail service. While Oklahoma provided their portion of funds for the service last year, a coalition of North Texas governments provided $3.5 million to make up for the funds being cut from the Texas state budget last year. Multiple teens from Ardmore have been nominated for a statewide music theater award. Ardmore High School's production of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee and Plainview High School's production of Big Fish have both produced finalists for the OKC Broadway Kelly O'Hara Award. At Ardmore, Kaylin Dewberry and Lola Caldwell were each nominated for Best Actress. Ardmore's Carson Timmons nominated for Best Actor. Plainview's Ethan Savage was also nominated for the award's Best Actor category, an award which he won last year. Ardmore's musical production earlier this year is also a finalist for the 5A Division Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble, while Plainview's performance is a finalist for the 4A Division Outstanding Musical Performance. The winners of the Kelly O'Hara Awards for Best Actor and Actress will participate in the National High School Theater Awards. Winners will be announced coming up on May 29th. The cremated remains of 6 military service members from Oklahoma came to Ardmore on Thursday and were laid to rest. The cremated remains of 6 military service members from Oklahoma came to Ardmore on Thursday to be laid to rest. The Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs and their Found Project brought the remains to the Seaman First Class Billy Turner Veterans Cemetery on Thursday with the help of military honor guards and a motorcycle club for the dignified transport and burial of Army, Navy, and Air Force veterans. Local veterans read the names and brief stories about the 6 individuals during the ceremony, which included Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, who took the U.S. flag on behalf of those service members' families. The VA's Found Project scours funeral homes across the state of Oklahoma looking for unclaimed remains and has so far found those of 64 service members. This week's committal service was the 3rd held at the Ardmore Veteran Cemetery since starting up last year. Don't forget, up on the website this weekend and in our printed newsletter, we'll have also our opinion column this week. You can read this week's column along with previous editorials and letters to the editor over on the opinion section of the website, ardmoreleader.com. And stick around until the end because every episode of This Week in Ardmore wraps up with the schedule. This week we've got details about upcoming public meetings, a free CPR class coming up next week, and the Arbuckle Area Council BSA's auction coming up this weekend. And that's the headlines. Now, let's take an in-depth look at just some of the big things that happened this week in Ardmore for the week of May 8th, 2026. The Ardmore City Commission has undergone an annual reorganization that saw the swearing in of its newest member. Commissioner Buddy Simon took the oath of office early in the Monday regular meeting before casting his first votes as the city's at-large commissioner. And among his first votes were for commissioners to elect the mayor and vice mayor for the next year. David Plesher will serve his first term as mayor, while Cheryl Ellis will serve as vice mayor. Outgoing Mayor John Cradle Jr. received a commemorative gavel, a scrapbook, and his mayor's portrait that was hanging in the city manager's office before taking a regular commissioner seat. City commissioners quickly got to work, though, considering two separate agreements. One agreement approves the repair of the traffic control box at the intersection of North Commerce Street and 12th Avenue Northwest. That $50,000 repair cost came after a car crash back in November that left the intersection without traffic signals through the weekend after Thanksgiving. City staff told commissioners that all but $5,000 was paid for the repairs after an insurance claim. The cost of repairs to the dam at City Lake have again increased after commissioners approved a fourth change order this week. The $10,000 increase is tied to samples from the structure's base that engineers say they need to determine how to reinforce it. Public Utilities Assistant Director Blake Rudd told commissioners on Monday evening that when the dam project was first started back in 1902, sandstone was used as a filler within concrete. But now, as work to improve and modernize the structure approved late last year has progressed, engineers want to better understand how structurally sound the existing dam and spillway are before they move forward. Here was Rudd on Monday evening.
They want to ensure that when they anchor this, that they anchor to something very good.
Now, the commission back in November of last year approved just over $8 million. The commission back in November approved the roughly $8 million bid from McMillan Construction to repair and upgrade that dam. Costs for the project have increased by some $400,000 or about 5% after abandoned pipes had to be removed and some other unexpected changes in the scope of work. According to documents provided to the commission, that project is being paid for with funds from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board Clean Water State Revolving Fund. Also on Monday, the Ardmore City Commission approved the appointments of John Pryor and Leslie Dvorak to the Ardmore Public Library Board. Oklahoma's Found Project has been scouring funeral homes around the state for the unclaimed remains of military service members. Last year, the cremated remains of 12 service members were brought to Ardmore for public memorials with full military honors, and on Thursday, a third memorial was had when the remains of 6 more service members were laid to rest.
Right up! Right up! Right up! Present! Huh!
Dozens of people were at the Seaman First Class Billy Turner Veteran Cemetery on Thursday afternoon for the dignified burial of 3 U.S. Army veterans, 2 U.S. Air Force veterans, and 1 U.S. Navy veteran. Among attendees were city and county officials, Oklahoma Highway Patrol Troop F, the Oklahoma Patriot Guard Riders, and the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. Also on hand to accept the U.S. flag on behalf of the service members was Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt.
You know, these are unclaimed, basically, military veterans in our state that are Oklahomans that passed away, and so we honored them today. There were 6 of them that we're going to permanently lay to rest here, and so just the community that came out, it was an honor. It was a military funeral, and then they presented the flag to me, so such an honor to represent. This was a program that we started under my administration to honor those that fought for our country and fought for our freedoms.
The Found Project, or Find Oklahoma's Unclaimed National Defenders, this is an effort by the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs to work with funeral homes across the state. Jamie Cassidy is the Director of Memorial Affairs for the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs, and she said that some of the veterans included in or identified in this project have gone unclaimed for a decade.
When no next of kin is found or no one accepts responsibility, funeral homes are faced with a difficult decision. Rather than scattering the ashes in a potter's field, some choose to wait, hoping that someone steps forward.
This project has identified the remains of 64 men and women, with 29 of them eligible for burial benefits. Cassidy said that some remains have been reunited with families, while others have been interred here at the Ardmore Cemetery.
There is no rank in death, so today these veterans have been brought to their final resting place with the highest honor and dignity the Found Project has to offer.
Hey, does your group or organization have a public event coming up? Don't forget, every episode of This Week in Ardmore wraps up with the schedule, trying to give listeners an idea of just a few things happening around town. Email your event details to connect@ardmoreleader.com or give me a call, 319-9688, and tell me all about it. Now, here's a quick rundown of how to find Ardmore Leader between podcasts. We've got our newsletter we distribute across town. If you can't find it in town, don't worry. You can get a digital copy of that newsletter emailed to you every week. Check out the website, ardmoreleader.com. Scroll towards the bottom of the homepage and get signed up for free. You can also find us on social media. Just search Ardmore Leader on whichever platform you use. You can also search Ardmore Leader wherever you subscribe to music and podcasts, so you can get notified of every episode of This Week in Ardmore every Friday. And don't forget, too, I want you to be a part of the podcast. I want you to be a part of the newsletter and the website. Email me your thoughts, ideas, artwork, skate videos, poems, cartoons, you name it. Sound off at ardmoreleader.com. You can even send me a voice note on your smartphone. Just whatever you do, please keep any recording under 60 seconds and make sure you include your name in that email so you can stand behind your submissions. And hey, if your group or organization has a public event coming up, let me know about it. I'll see about getting it on the schedule. In public meetings next week, the Carter County Commission will hold their regular meeting coming up on Monday morning, May 11th at 9 a.m. at the County Administration Building. The agenda for that is available on the county's website, cartercountyok.us. The Plainview Public Schools Board of Education will meet for their monthly meeting coming up on Monday evening, May 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the district's administration building. The agenda for that meeting can be found on the district's website. Among items on the agenda for the school board this month includes consideration of bids for work on floors at the intermediate elementary school and the gymnasium. The Arbuckle Area Council BSA will be holding a benefit auction coming up on Saturday, May 9th. Area businesses and organizations have already donated items and services to the auction that will also include multiple donated items. With Mother's Day coming up this weekend, the Arbuckle Area Council BSA auction could be the place to get your mom in your life something special this year. This BSA auction begins on Saturday, May 9th at 10 a.m. and will include both live auctions and silent auctions. This is happening at the Arbuckle Area Council BSA building, 411 Veterans Boulevard, right there in front of Ardmore Middle School. Area seniors are invited to bingo afternoons at HFE Wilson Community Center. Coming up on Tuesday, May 12th, you can meet new or longtime friends over bingo. And this is for people 55 years old and up. 10 games will be played, prizes will be awarded. This free event is for people 55 and over, happening on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. It's going to be happening next week, Tuesday, May 12th, beginning at 1:15 p.m. A free public CPR class will be returning to the Ardmore Public Library next week. The Southern Oklahoma Ambulance Service will hold this free class coming up on Wednesday, May 13th, beginning at 10 a.m. at the Ardmore Public Library. I'm Ardmore Leader News Director Michael Dean Smith. Thank you for downloading episode 63 of This Week in Ardmore. Follow us online at ardmoreleader.com or on social media. And until next Friday, I hope you have a positive week ahead.